UFC superstar Jorge Game Brett Masvidal, dude. What's going on, baby?
What's up, everybody?
Alrighty, what up, everybody? Welcome into Man to Man Podcast. Today we're switching things up and talking man to woman. Please welcome on the show singer-songwriter, social media star Lauren Gray. We know you like the DJs.
I am okay.
$1.99 for a banana bag, bro.
Revo Sunglasses, the go-to brand for premium eyewear that perfectly blends style and performance. Whether you're hitting the slopes, exploring the trails, or just soaking up the sun, Revo has got you covered with their cutting-edge polarized NASA lens technology that offers unparalleled clarity and protection. Head over to www.revo.com or click the link in the episode description to score some amazing deals on their latest collection. Experience the difference with Revo's sleek designs, durable build, and advanced lens coatings, making every adventure clear and more vibrant. From vibrant urban streets to the great outdoors, Revo sunglasses will have you looking sharp and feeling confident wherever you go. Visit www.revo.com or click the link in the episode description to upgrade your eyewear game today. That's www.revo.com for the best deals on top-tier eyewear. Trust us, your eyes will thank you later.
My eyes thank myself right now. Thank you.
Like, whoever sold their soul to do that, I'm like,
Yeah.
you did something there. Because, like, even just this new wave of, like, and God forgive me for saying this, but, like, I'll see some of these teenage guys, like, with the dangle earring, this certain haircut, and I'm like, what's going on?
It's like the up front, you know,
Yeah.
like the Josh Richards haircut.
Yeah, and I'm just like, when I'm thinking about when I was in high school, I was like, if you looked like that,
Yeah. Probably not going to have a lot of friends. And it sounds
you
like...
were going to get made fun of for sure.
Who I can't remember who we had on. Younger guys like that, but they're all, Lauren Gray.
Lauren Gray.
Lauren Gray.
Oh
We
my
had
God,
her-
I wrote
yeah,
for
yeah.
her like years ago.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had her out there. We went to LA early August for our annual Dash radio trip, and Dash was renovated, so we had everybody come to our
Yep.
studios, but she was like, yeah, it kind of just happened by accident. I didn't have any friends on Musically, and everyone was just hating me, and we're like, okay, now you're 25 mil on IG.
Bro,
What's
and
going
she's
on?
so hot, and she's like 12.
I know.
She walked in the room and I was like, you were like ungodly hot. Like,
Yeah.
and then I realized she's like not even like 18 at that point. I was like, how do you look like that?
You guys were on the same record label. Is that
Was she on
correct?
Universal?
Are you Republic?
I was Republic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on Republic.
That's
For
what
a
she
little
said,
bit.
right?
She was
She
there
was
for
like
2
a
years or
hot
something.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was super fast. I signed like I think right after she had signed. And
Gotcha.
then yeah, because I remember like Bonnie McKee brought me in to write for her project.
Okay.
And I was just like, I don't even know how to write for a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
I have
what do
no
you write
idea.
about?
I have no idea. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, do you kiss boys?
Yeah.
Because at 16, I was like, if I like held a boy's hand, I was like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
My
I know.
mom had it so far in my head that it was like, if you touch a boy, you're pregnant. I was like, oh God.
Cooties are real back
What
then.
were you doing at 16, dude?
He was like, I was.
Sophomore in high school?
Yeah, 16, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Freshman.
my first
Yeah.
kiss was like 8th grade, but I missed. You were just out on a show.
I was.
Yeah, talk a little bit about
I
that. Where were
was.
you, dude?
I feels like it's 6 lifetimes ago. Like it's wild. I started off, well, you were like a Christian pop group actually. And it was so interesting because there was a late, so like the first couple of years, just a Christian pop group would tour over Texas, all the churches. And then there was a lady, Doreen Spicer, that created the Proud Family. And she was like, yo, I want to create a show around y'all and make it kind of like Saved by the Bell meets Hannah Montana. And we were like, okay. So we shot the pilot, like it was like funded privately. Like we got the investors to like fund the first pilot. And we shot it at the Fellowship of the Woodlands Church in Houston.
Okay.
So strange. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know what's going to come of this. So I go back, I go to school like a normal kid, just doing like, and then I like started a band. I did all the things. And a year later, I get a call and it's like, yo, you got to pack up. You're going to homeschool the rest of high school. You're moving to Michigan and we're going to shoot 26 episodes. And I was like, what? So I just packed up, left high school and homeschooled, shot 26 episodes for a year and a half in Michigan. And because the tax incentive right at that point in filming was so good there. So, and they found like a vacant high school because everyone like in that area, they built this beautiful new high school. So we just set up the whole set there, filmed in the hallways, did all the things. And then all of a sudden we come back and the show like blows up overseas, like blows up. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Come back. Young Money, Cash Money is like, we want to sign y'all. And I'm just sitting there like, wait, Birdman, Slim, Lil Wayne, Drake, like my first ever, like, and I'm talking, we are 5 kids, like 17 years old. First Grammy party we go to, like Wayne's sitting right next to me, Drake's on this side of me, like, I'll never forget. I woke up in a new Bugatti. It was playing over and over and over. The DJ kept, and it was like, "Pow, pow, pow, pow." Like he kept doing that noise. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. It was the first time to ever see. Like I thought that I was like sitting next to a thing of powdered sugar, and it was a whole thing of cocaine. I was like, oh my god. I called my mom, Peggy Sue. I was like, Peggy Sue, I think I saw coke and strippers for the first time. But it was a wild experience. So we signed, which it was amazing. Like they flew us to Paris. We did like the album with Red One. Like had this whole thing ready to go. And what's so crazy is the JV through Cash Money at the time was Republic. So that was technically my first record deal was with Republic on the JV of Cash Money. We get signed. They like spend an absurd amount of money because that's what Birdman and Slim do. But pop music, we were their first experimental pop side of Cash Money. And you can't spend all the budget on the front half because you can't put up a pop album on mixtape.com. You have to have radio budget, which is like, we all know is so expensive. So the budget was gone for radio for when the project was going to come out. So all of a sudden we just get shelved. And it's just like we're sitting there, no music came out, no nothing. And at this point, like I'm turning 18 and I'm like, we got to go to LA. Like we got to be in their face. So I pack up my bags. My parents are like, you're 18 moving to LA. And I was like, I got to do it. And they're like, okay. So I move out. My group comes like a little bit after me. We're making YouTube videos, all the things and nothing. And we're just like, okay, cool. So they're like, Shay, like this has been a good run of almost 10 years together. Like we're going to go back. And I was like, what? Like I'm in a lease now. I live in a 230 square foot apartment for $1,200 a month. And I'm just like, I'm working 5 different jobs. Like I went from like, making all of this, like, not a lot of money, but it was like a significant amount of money for a teenager. And I didn't realize that it just like is not consistent in the music industry. Like you get one check and you're living off that check for a good minute. So I had no money to my name and I'm like, okay, I'm stuck in a year lease here. So they go back. I just start writing because I didn't really know how to write like a full song by myself. Like we were in the phase in that era of pop music, you were given demos by like the best of the best and you sing them. So I just would message SoundCloud producers over and over and over because no producers in the pop world would work with me because at that point, then Cash Money was going to shit. Like it was, people were suing them.
Beef. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and people were suing them. Like they weren't, like no one was getting paid. So everyone was like, no, we don't want to, like we're good. And then they tried to like keep me as a solo artist. And I was like, I went off. Like I just went off. So I sat there for probably like 3 years in that deal. And I got my release date tatted on me because I was like, I'm out. I'm freaking out. But I got out. Every SoundCloud producer known to man, like I would message them over and over and over. I was like, just send me a track, send me a track. I thought I wanted to be an EDM feature girl. Learned really quick. I was a big rave girl. I was. And I was like, I'm going to be the voice of EDM. So I did a few DJ tracks and realized this is not what I want to do. But it helped me to figure out how to write songs by myself in a room. Like I would study Max Martin. I would study everybody. But I would always have like, because I started off doing country music. Like that was like my thing. And so I had like all these country melodies that I would just, for years, I would just put them in pop boxes. So I land my first publishing deal a couple years later, writing for all these different people. Then I get flown to like Korea, write some of the biggest K-pop music of all time. And that was wild. And then I land my second record deal in 2018 with Republic, which is weird that I landed there again. Because they were like, when they first showcased me, they were like, why do we know you? And I was like, I was technically signed to you guys, like almost.
Remember when you guys shelved me, dude?
Yeah. Well, the sad part was what like Republic didn't shelve me, but JV or freaking Cash Money did. So it was like they were just like, let's have a successful run, which they were freaking incredible. Everything was great. Then COVID happens. Like I had this radio single about to happen. I had like interpolated with Macy Gray, I Try. So like I had this whole radio thing. iHeart was like so excited about it. It was like the 20-year anniversary of the song. COVID happens. So they push it. And then I keep pushing it because all the things that happened in COVID. And then when I did finally put the EP out, like it's just like, it was always right there in music, but it was never like, and I started to realize like I fell so out of love with it. And then all of a sudden, like like you're being forced to do TikTok. Nothing was ever working. Like I was just like, this is not what I wanted to do. It's not the songs I want to write. And the management team I had around me at the time was like, you need to look like this. You need to dye your hair this. You need to sound like this. Like, and I all of a sudden like started to lose everything of like, who am I? Like I would wear no clothes in videos. I would say the F word in every freaking song. My mom was like, do you have to do that? Yeah. I was like, it's cool. This is what works. And then I like took a step back and I was like, oh my God, like this is not what I love anymore. So 2021 happens, and I didn't know it then, but I met my manager, who's now my current manager, who's awesome. But I met him in passing, and he was like, yo, have you ever gone out to Nashville? Because you're doing all these country melodies and fitting them in pop music. And he was like, you need to go out to Nashville. He's like, come out on a writing trip with me. And at the time, my management then was like, she's done, her career's over, like no one knows what to do with her, so she's just gonna write for people. And I was like, okay. So like I go out there, my first trip, like I'm pitching all these like pop songs I never put out that could be flipped into country. And this guy, Ilya Tashinsky, comes in and he's like, yo, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you got to sing these songs. Like he was like, there's 2 people that could sing these in this town. And he was like, but I don't know, why are you not being an artist? And I was like, well, I'm told that it's over. So he was like, okay, how about you humor me? He was like, come out here like in a couple weeks. I'll open my Rolodex, put you in the rooms with. Now I realize like who I was put in the rooms with are just, they're legends. Like after doing this for so many years, yes, I worked my way into those rooms, but like coming into Nashville and just being placed in the first day with Seth Ennis, Phil Barton, and Lindsey Rhymes, I didn't know the significance of that. So the very first day at 9 a.m., because Seth had a baby on the way, and he's like, yo, we got to do 9 a.m. just in case. I was like, I've never written a song at 9 a.m. in my life, but okay. And we write the song called What If I Don't? And it was just like,
It's a bizanger, dude.
bruh, I literally like, I remember getting in, because I'd taken like a voice memo of it, and I remember getting the Uber and I cried. I just cried. I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm so happy. So I made like half of I wrote so many songs that week, and I was like, I can't give these away. Like, I would be bummed if somebody else was singing these. And usually like I don't have like a whole attachment to them. Like I can give a song away and be fine. But what if I don't? Like the significance of that song for me, I was just like, I don't know. There's something about it. So I went back to Republic. I was like, yo, I want to do a switch. I want to go back to what I know and do country. And they're like, yo, listen, we love you so much. We just don't know country if it hit us upside the head. So we'll let you walk. And I was like, okay, cool. So they were amazing. Like they were just like, we want to see you win. So they let me walk. And then I realized like the team of people I had around me, I had to like, after 10 years, I was like, yo, like this is the scariest move I'm going to have to make, but we got to part ways. So we parted ways. And then August 2022, I packed up my bags, moved out here, not knowing anybody, put out in What If I Don't independent. I wanted to stay independent, and I put it out, and it just worked. And I was just like, it was the first time anything reacted on TikTok, anything.
So how did that song blow up the way it did?
I literally to me, like, I don't even know how it happened. Like I posted a clip, it would do kind of well, like more than I'd ever, like 5 views. And like all of a sudden, like it just started to kind of like build. And then all of a sudden, like it was out for a couple months, and then it hit New Boots on Spotify, which I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then this summer, like, then it got bumped to Hot Country. And, like, because everybody kept telling me, they're like, unless you're on a label, like, Hot Country is really not an option. And then when it hit Hot Country, it just went boom. Yeah. And it was crazy. Like, I've never accumulated over 30 million streams in my entire life. Yeah, ever. So I was just like, okay, I guess that was the right move. And then ever since, like, I've just been putting them out, and they seem to do pretty well. But that one, like, for some reason, when I wrote it, I was so, like, the guy I thought I was going to marry, like, I was so heartbroken. I was moving. I thought, like, I failed by leaving LA. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, because Nashville just wasn't an option. Like, I didn't even think about it. My management at the time was like, because I got approached to go out to Nashville when I was 21. And he was like, if you do this, you'll ruin your career. And I was like, okay. Like, so I just stayed. And so I was like, when I packed up my bags, I was like, I failed, like all the things. And I get out here, the community's so like welcoming. They were awesome. Got in a bunch of rooms, and then it just like popped off. And then rooms that I've like always dreamed of being in, now I'm sitting in them, and I'm just like, what? Like, this is crazy.
So when you turn that page and you're like, if I got to keep doing this, want to keep writing songs, now I'm going to have to be the person who sings it.
Yeah.
It's a transition. So was that like your dream always to be the
I've
singer?
always wanted to be the artist.
Okay.
In fact, that was like, that's why I was so brokenhearted when they were like, you just got to write for people. Because I was like, I don't want to, like, at the end of the day, no matter what, I am just the artist. Like, I have always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to, like, the stage is the only place I feel comfortable. It's so weird. It's like another part of me comes out, and it's just like, because I remember when I was like 6, and I got my first like chance I begged Miss June to sing at the offering at church. I was like, I just want to try it one time. I was freaking horrible. But I remember getting up there, and I like was looking at everybody, and I was like, oh my God, this is like what I'm supposed to do in life. Like, I always wanted to be a veterinarian until I figured out that you have to put dogs down as a veterinarian. I was like, nope. Yeah. I just like all these things, and I just knew that I had to be the artist. So I love being in the room with different artists and writing for them. And like, I can take a step back, and it helps me like use another side of my brain, which is so cool. And to be a vessel to write for somebody else. But there are certain songs that I'm like, nah, I got to sing it. And What If I Don't was one of those songs.
Right. That's how all the big artists blow up anyways.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen started writing.
Yeah.
Lainey Wilson, who just cleaned
Yeah.
up at CMAs, just started
Bro,
writing.
she's so sick.
Yeah.
She's so sick.
We were wondering when you just moved to Dallas. Like, when did your family move to Dallas from Chattanooga?
I think I was like 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yep. So I like, and even in Chattanooga, like I had my mom, we would drive up on the weekends and come see the Opry. And I was just like, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, it was just this itch I had. Like, I like, even now, it's so funny. Like, when I was little, my parents thought something was wrong. I wouldn't walk. I would not walk. I would just sit there and just sing little tunes. They're like, she doesn't walk. She doesn't talk. Like, is something wrong with her? Yeah. And I was just like happy eating cookies and singing. And they were just, and then I finally, thank God I walked.
Are your parents big church people? Is that
they
why you
are.
started in the
That's
church?
how I learned how to sing, was in church.
Yeah.
And that's like, that is a firm foundation of like, even like making the move, like I was just like, cause LA, I will say you go out there and that's not a big thing there. Like it's, so I kind of like not had to hide it, but I kind of forgot about that side of me. So that's when 2020 happened, and I like came back and like really dug into my faith, and I was like, yo, like like I don't know what to listen for right now. And then all of a sudden, the more I would just sit there in prayer, like it was like this voice that started to become more present. And the same thing happened with What If I Don't? There was like this voice, and it was just like, yo, this is your song, you got to sing it.
We've got a guy who won Big Brother, the reality TV show, Jackson Mickey. He went to Tennessee with us at school, and then he lived out there in LA forever, and just a lot went through his head. Then he came back on the pod a couple weeks ago, and he's super religious now, kind of just like, I didn't need to be out there.
Yeah.
Oxymoron, City Angels, like it just ain't out there.
It is
we were
not.
out there, bro. We're at EP and LP.
Yeah.
And we're like, what's going on out there in the hills and everything else? So
listen, LA has its magic, it does. But there is such a dark side of LA that you don't even know it until you're like in it.
Did you find yourself in like moments like that at like house parties, be like, I don't know if I should be here?
You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have even just like some of the things that like I was faced with during that 10 years, like it is.
Well, 10 years is a long time, and that's kind of what we were thinking, like, to ourselves, and when we're doing a little bit of prep of, is like, why did she stay out there for so long? 10 years, like, you hear some artists go out there for a year, maybe 3, and then we kind of do a little research on you. Why so long out there?
Like I said, I got in with a team of people that they were great. They were great, and we had some success together, but there was like a energy behind it that was like, you have to stay, you have to do this. Like, and all of a sudden 1 year turns into 4 years turns into 7. And
so you were at that label all 10 years you were out there.
It was the management. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why like, even just like the energy around it, I was like, there's something off. Like, and I just like, I felt even like I was never like fully myself. Like I felt like it was like, you have to go brunette, you have to go purple, you have to like do this to your body, you have to like look like this, you have to wear these clothes. And I was like, and like it was so funny. Like I was always told like, you just look too Southern, you sound too Southern. Like, and I was like, yeah, I'm a Southern girl. Like, but I forgot that. So when you get sucked into it and you want it so bad, you do anything. We
didn't realize you started in country music. We thought you were just singing at church. Then I'm doing pop in high school. Then going to LA and doing pop. But you started singing country music.
I just learned how to sing on country. Like that was like, my parents would play. In fact, I'll never forget Stay by Sugarland was like, that was like a staple in my life, or Whiskey Lullaby, or freaking Reba or Shania. Like that's what I grew up on. I remember my first like full album that my mom bought me. I mean, I know it's not fully country, but like Uncle Cracker. I was obsessed with Follow Me, like obsessed. And my mom at the time, you had to buy full albums. And my dad comes home. He's like, Peggy Sue, this is like an explicit album. She's like, well, she loves the one song on there. And he's saying some absurd shit on that album. Like in like the interludes and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. But I loved it. And like I remember like I went to go see, it was like the first concert I got to like go by myself with some friends. And it was Brad Paisley. Taylor Swift was opening for him. And Kelly Pickler and her come out in these tick outfits for Check Me for Ticks or whatever. And I was just like, I love this. Like I love it. But then there was a side of me that loved pop because I was like obsessed with Brittany. I was obsessed with Christina. And I went to a Britney Spears concert with my dad. I was so little. And I remember like he's watching the concert. She comes out with Slave for You, like snake on her shoulders. I'm up. Like I think I was like 7 or 8. I roll up my shirt like halfway. I'm on the like chair and I'm like, I'm a slave. My dad's like, get the down. Like he calls my mom. He's like, what is wrong with her? She was like, well, she's an entertainer.
We can't take her to another Britney Spears.
We can't take her to a Britney's.
You know?
Oh my God. And at that time, Britney was just getting ripped to shreds. Like everyone thought she was awful and evil.
Alone.
I love Britney. And then like now you see all like, it's like, if you're naked, like that's just normal. Like I'll scroll on Instagram and I'll see 6 naked girls at 9 a.m. and I don't even think anything of it. And I'm like, wait, what?
Like, damn, dude, that's how I'm gonna start my day.
I was like, that's a lot of titty at 9 a.m.
Shower first.
That's a lot of titty at 9 a.m. But like we're so desensitized now that we're just like, cool. You see something like there's like some absurd things that pop up on my Explore page. And I'm like, who's feeding me this algorithm?
We didn't know if that went also hand in hand. We did some research on our inspirations. Elvis Presley, like Willie Nelson.
All the things. Like Willie, I got to open.
Old soul in you.
Oh, I love it. I got to open for Willie and Jessica Simpson like when I was super little. And I was so excited. Like I remember Johnny Knoxville was there. Like it was like this charity thing. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. So that's like country is like truly my core. And then I just like when I then just found myself into pop music. Mm-hmm. I either thought I was going to do country or Broadway. That was like my whole thing. And musical theater. And that's how I learned like how to sing like really big. And Andrea Wallace taught me like, I would go to Baptist churches. Like I love Baptist churches. And I like worship music. And that's just like where it came from. And then the rest of it, like I had so much happen to me in LA and so like failed relationships. And one day I'll get into like the true core of LA, but for now I'll keep that. We'll save that.
On Demand Man podcast.
You know, we'll save that.
Recurring guest, she'll come back.
We'll have her back,
God.
dude. We'll have her back,
There are
you know?
some stories that I could tell, but my team they're like, not yet, Shay, not yet.
good.
But I have all of this like stored in me to where like I'm so grateful it happened, even though it was like so painful. And it comes like that's where I think all these songs get to come from. And then like, I mean, what if I don't? I remember walking in with the concept of waterproof mascara because like I could not stop buying waterproof mascara. All I would do was cry. I was just like, I was like so sad. And I brought that in. Thankfully, like that didn't end up being the hook. Like Seth, like we bounced it back and it ends up being the opening line of like, why am I still buying waterproof mascara? But that's where the whole idea came from. And then Seth is a freaking genius and just started like, he's like, what if it's like, what if you do? What if I don't? I was like, yeah. And then when I put it out or like even just teased it, it was so crazy the amount of people that came back and they were like, yo, like my husband passed away, my wife passed away, and I can't move on. Like I feel like I'm cheating on them. And that's really where the song like truly, that's the majority of the comments that I get is that. And I didn't even think of it that way. How people can take something and resonate with it in a whole different light. And I'm just like, that's what's crazy about music. Music is so sick in that way of like, oh, you have a story that this is like hitting you totally different than it is for me. But I just like, I took the pages of my journal and it's terrifying to put those out because it's so vulnerable. And I knew the person that I wrote it about was going to hear it. And I was like, I don't want him to know that I'm still stuck on him. But I was just like, whatever, like you put your heart and soul out and when you connect, that's what happened in pop is like, I stopped connecting with the songs. So like when they were like ripped to shreds by the time, like there was 75 different versions of them. So when you put it out, I'm like, if I don't even love this, how would anybody else?
That was the question I just had in my head. Do you even like any of the songs that you put out?
Now I do.
Yeah.
Now I love them. And like when I deliver them, nothing changes after that. Like we just put a live band to them. Like we'll maybe add some like guitar melodies in there, but like the song itself doesn't change. Pop, like I mean, I rewrote hooks 75 times, lyrics, and I was like, I don't like this song anymore. I hate this song. So if I'm hating it, that's gonna translate. Yeah. You can see it in somebody's face when they're not like, and I think you could just tell like in the vocal, like you can tell there's pain. You could tell that like I'm sad. And like I get to relive that every night when I perform it. Like, and I go back to that space and I like, and then it's every time I start crying during this show. Cause like at that point, I'm just like, yo, I was singing this in my bedroom and my mom was listening to the demo and that's all. Like I didn't even imagine anybody else like hearing it. I was just hoping. And then they did. And I was just like, this is crazy that I'm getting to like last year I'm in my bedroom. Nobody knows me. And then I just got off my first run of headline shows. And I'm like, I never headlined a show in my life. So that was like, it's just, or like I got to go out with Billy Currington and I walk out on stage and like there's 6,000 people out there. And I'm just like, what? What is life right now? There's a lot of people. I looked up because I couldn't see the audience before I went out. Like usually you can see them. Yeah. And this particular show was in Modesto, and I was walking out, and the lights go up, and I've never seen that many people for like a.
My turn, I guess.
I was like, what? So that was so cool. That was so cool. I was so thankful he had me out.
Let's go through like the transition then after 2018. Kind of COVID happened.
Yep.
And kind of take us through that process of what that meant for you in terms of the world being shut down, what that did to you as an artist. Because you're already making that transition into.
Well, at that point, I didn't even know I was going to do country. Like 2020 happened, and I just like, you're not allowed to do sessions. I hated Zoom sessions. I would not do them. I tried 2, and I was like, this is not for me. I can't write over a computer. And I stopped posting. I was like, I hate this. Like, I hate everything about it. I knew I had an EP to promote, and I was like, I hate this. So I didn't even write a song that whole year. I was like, okay, like I don't even know who I am outside of music anymore. Like I don't know, what are my hobbies? What do I like?
That's
what
exactly
do I do?
What Bryce Vine said yesterday. What are my hobbies?
What are my
outside
hobbies? Because you're so in it. Like you were like every ounce of your being is trying to make this work that you're like, what do I like to do outside of this? Like I don't know who I am. So I took a step back. I got in a relationship. I like made that relationship so much of my world that it was like damaging. But it was the first time that I like had something that I was like, oh my God, this is mine. It was now in hindsight, I look back and I'm just like, it was an unhealthy way to do it. But I will say like, thank God that relationship happened because it is the core of all of these songs. So I was in this relationship. I'm not making music. And then when I would try to write, I was like, I'm so unhappy. Like, because I was being told like, yo, you need to pull back the vocal. Like big vocals aren't in pop right now. Like, you need to make it like, this was when pop was kind of transitioning to that smaller sound, kind of whispery tone. So I was trying to make music like that. And I was like, I hate this. And then it became like more about the character online. And I was like, I don't want to be doing absurd things for my music to work. Like, I don't want to dance to my, like a TikTok dance. I don't want to do it. So I was just like, screw this. I'm going to stop for a second. The only one that I did make during COVID was Do-Si-Do, which was a TikTok collab with Bryce Vine and Kylie made that. And I was like, oh, this is fun. But I still, like at that point, I was like, this is just like a country pop kind of thing. Didn't even think about going to country music, but we dropped it. It was fun. Did pretty well. And then, I was doing a session. Tommy, who's my manager, had asked to do a session with me. And he's like, I want to see if she can like really write like a country song. So we did a session. He was like, you're dope at this. How about you actually come to Nashville? And I was like, okay, like I'm really out of the writing game right now, but cool. And that's when like, I think like a year later is when we finally did the trip. And like I said, I was being told like, yo, you will not focus on the artist thing. You do not say you're an artist, you are a writer. And I was like, okay. So I just went in there and I was like, what? Like I never, even when I'm writing for artists or pitching, I'm never like, what would they say? It's just like, I'll just say what I'm going to say and hopefully it translates for somebody. So that's when I wrote What If I Don't. I was like, okay, like, and then I was like, maybe Kelly Clarkson, maybe Carrie, like who would sing this?
As a female in the game, can you pitch to guys or could it be
You can. It's not unheard of. It's just it's typically either they format the voice down to or like they drop it a few octaves or you have a male demo it. And I was just like, like I don't want to give it away. Yeah. Like there was some songs that week that I wrote that I was like, yeah, I'm cool if we give this away. But that particular song on the first day, and I was just like, this is the music I want to make. Like, this is where I felt so happy again. And that's when I decided to go back and I was like, screw this. Yeah. Like, and I often think of like, it was, yes, they saw, like the team of people saw the value in me for a while. And then they started to not see the value. And I started to not see the value in myself. Like, I'll never forget, I was told like, during COVID, like we were having a serious conversation and I had like wrote this song called Forgive Myself, which could totally be a country song. It was just a pop song at the time. But he had said, he was like, yo, if you gave these to like Selena Gomez or Haley Steinfeld at the time, like he was like, they would be profound lyrics. And he was like, but you don't have the platform, so you kind of just sound like you're a screw up. And I was like, damn. I'll never forget that conversation. I was like, that sucks. So I was like, okay, like maybe I just do need to be a vessel for somebody that has the platform. And I always think about that. I'm like, they started to lose or like not see the value in me anymore. And I often think, like, I saw this thing one time about like a vintage car that was like old, it needed work. And this person was like, yo, like it's trash. Like, and somebody else saw it as like, oh my God, if this is fixed up, it'll be worth so much money. And then like it's sold for a shit ton of money later on. And I often think, like, humans, it's like somebody could see you as like an old thing that needs work and tuned up, and like there's no value. But then another group of people see you and they're like, oh my God, I see what it could be. And that's the team of people around me now. Like, I'll never forget Andy. I went out to the lake house to write with them, and he was like, give me 6 months to get you out to Nashville. Just give me 6 months. He was like, I promise you, like, you're going to be the biggest thing ever. And I was like, I don't really believe it anymore. And that he did exactly what he said. And he got me out here, and it worked. And like that, it's a God thing, because it's not me at that point. Like, it is truly, none of this is me. Not even like, I black out when I write these songs. I'm like, did I actually write that? Like, because I don't remember the 7 hours, because I don't really feel like it's coming from me. It's like something else that you write it and then you put it out, and then it just like translates and resonates with people, and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. So that's like that whole like 2 years. I'm so grateful, because I truly thought COVID was the end of like my, like, when 2021 came around, I was like, I got to give it up. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I gave it one last run. And that's, I always tell people, like, right at the end of my show, I'm like, yo, right when you think you're about to give up, like, that's truly when it probably is about to happen.
And you get, at that point, you get to do it yourself too.
Yeah.
Now. And it's like,
that's what's so sick, is like, I was terrified I'd never been independent in my life. Right. Like, I had never done any of this independent. I always thought you had to have a label, a team. So I was terrified. Like, and I was like, I get to choose the artwork. I get to like set up the photo shoot. I get to collaborate. That David and Kathleen, Cat Singer, they're like the people that I collaborate with on all my artwork. And they see a vision, I see a vision, we bring it together, and I get to choose the artwork. Like, my team's like, yo, like, just tell us what you need. I shoot I get to do the videos myself. I get to choose exactly what, like, everything, like the even down to the 30 seconds of like what snippet goes on TikTok or something. I choose that. And that's why it's so exciting, is because, like, for once in my life, I don't care if a song even, like, Close Thing to Closure, I was so excited about it. And I was like, I don't care if this song fails or not. I love it, and I did it. Right. So that's what's so dope about being independent, is like, it is all on you. It is all on you. And it's like, if it fails, at least you did it.
And that's authentic too, though.
I love it.
Just being authentic as an artist, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's independent now, I feel like, or at least wants to be independent.
Yes. And it's crazy because, like, and I love labels. Like, they are, when the time is right, they are like the best thing. Like, you have a fire that started and they put the fuel in it. It's like, it turns massive. Like, that's when, but up until that point, like, if you do sign, you're just doing the work you're doing as an independent artist. Right. Like, that does not change. In fact, you have to go 10 times harder once you're on a label. So right now I get the freedom of like nobody being like, yo, you got to post to TikTok. Like, it's on my time.
So this could be a dumb question, but what do they help you with?
I mean, they're great. Like, they schedule my life. Like, they tell me where to be, what to do. Yeah.
Being
like,
independent, is it more challenging to just go on a,
I mean, it's super challenging as far as like funding and stuff like that. Like, that is definitely where like the label is helpful. But like, my team, like, they figure it out for me. Like, we have a great like group of like, we built a company, and then Ilya came on to that company, and now we're just kind of doing this thing like an independent way. Nice. And at some point, yes, we'll partner with a label, but I don't want to do it yet. Yeah. I don't want to do it. I just want to keep building. I'm like, why would I build this and like give away masters and like tour and like you give pretty much half of that away. Right. So if I'm doing it and it's working independent right now, when you do sign, it definitely slows it down too, because then you go into contracts, you gotta wait to release music, and then somebody else is A&Ring at that point. Like, you're not really, yes, you get to a level, like a bigger level, and you get to choose the songs, but when you're a baby artist, like, you typically have a team that's A&Ring the songs, and I don't want to do that right now.
We've also heard artists like that, if they are part of a label, they'll drop like a banger album or whatever, but then they don't drop any music for another 2 years, but then they'll want to, and then they're off the label.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So that's why like I'm right now, I try to do like every like couple months, and I love it. I love it. Like there's nobody telling me what song, and there's not like you gotta wait. You gotta wait for this to blow up. And if it doesn't blow up, you can't put anything out. So it's just, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
So I get maybe another dumb question. Are you going into Music Row Studios, or you got just your own studio at one of your boys' crib? Or
It's crazy right now, like because I get to work with so many people. I'm at studios everywhere. Like I think I've been to more studios in my lifetime in Nashville than I ever like. Because LA, like you get booked to write with people, and you could be like in a freaking closet. Like I've cut vocals in a closet with some smelly shoes, and I'm like, yo, this is rough. And even like that, but that's like some dope. Like I love that too. Like and even here, like you'll go to a home studio, you'll go to like big studios, like. And it's all just like, you never know the vibe you're getting that day. It's fun.
I asked that because everyone in Nashville, just being from her, we've seen their own country music artists have their studio in their home.
Yeah.
You're just going over to people's houses and just recording.
Yeah, and like you get in that scenario, or we like my company, we have like the top floor at the Morris as well, and we have a studio up there. So sometimes I'll work up there.
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
and it's like I love them. I literally like we have like an in-home studio at the apartment that we have up there, and I'll just cut my vocals or I'll write up there by myself. But mainly I'm going to different people's studios, which is super cool.
Dude, I remember one night there was that sound. I don't know if it's the same room as you're talking about, but the soundproof room.
The soundproof room we use a lot to rehearse.
Yeah.
I think it's such a sick setup.
It was like 2021, like Lake, Lily, and Sarah came over. We were up in that soundproof room.
Hell
till
yeah.
3 a.m. bumping like Young Thug.
Love
to the
it.
Loudest, bro.
Love it. And you can't hear anything in there. Like they have that, it's like so soundproof in there. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah. What's the difference? What's the biggest difference between like collabing with people in LA versus Nashville?
I will say like and there are incredible writers in LA, but the writing game here, it's another, like I was so challenged when I first came here because like country music, like pop music, you can have a dope concept, but you don't really have to dig in that much. Like as long as the melody and everything's cool, like and like the tone and everything. But I will say like here it is a story, and it's like, and the twist in country music, like people always be like, what's the twist of the song? And like I remember the first like compliment on What If I Do, What If I Don't, they were like, I love the twist at the end. And I was like, oh, that's like really a thing here. So I was challenged, like it's like the brain that people have here, and like the and they're hustlers. Like some people are in 3 sessions a day, and I'm just like, that's crazy. Like it is. And then you leave with like, I think it's so dope. You leave with the song, but then I never had a live band track a song. Like I didn't know that was a thing. LA, you leave with a full demo, and that demo is pretty much what it is.
Because it's also the biggest difference is also you're on a record label out there.
Yes.
And it's like maybe you can't choose who you want to collab with, or they just like, nah, I don't think so. Let's do this guy instead.
Yeah. Or like your publisher like will set you up, and like I said, there's no live tracking in LA. Very like people are like sitting there, or it's programmed on like Splice. Like the whole live element thing to me was so sick. When I got to hear my song like fully, because Tommy was like, just wait, like we're gonna track one of your songs and you're gonna hear the difference. And I was like, oh my God, I never want to go back to like a program song ever in my
I don't
life.
even know what she's talking about, to be honest.
Just like people live playing the music and the sounds in like
you have a whole band come in, like you have drummers,
you, just bring in like, hey, the guitar player will hear the song and then play it.
Yeah.
And then put it on the song.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the licks that they come up with that are super, like Ilya's a genius at that, because he'll come up with these like he'll either kind of like be reminiscent of the hook melody, and he'll put that in at the beginning of like, and I just never knew that was so important in these songs.
Are you amazed by some of the producers, and I guess they're just producers here in Nashville, like how fast they work too?
It's
crazy.
Nuts. Like there's Lindsey Rhymes, like he's insane. Like it's just like it almost sounds like there's live players because of like the drum kits he has. Like it almost sounds like a live. Whereas like LA, it's crazy. Like he'll sit there and like he just whips up a track and it sounds like it's ready to go, and you're like, what? So you have to. It's like a whole other level of like talent out here.
Do you typically hear the music and beats first before you write, or does it kind of go both and both, and then you just?
It usually starts out on a guitar. Like I call myself a chord whore, because like I am so like the chords have to be like I have to hear them a certain way, or like it has to be certain notes that I resonate with. Because like Or like sometimes somebody will play something and I'm just like, yeah, that's sick. Like, but I'm like, that's where it typically starts, and then I'll throw melodies over it. Like I'm a big melody girl. And then that's what I get so excited about working with writers in this town, because like then they'll have these like crazy lyrics that like even I just dropped this song called Cowboys Never Cry, and I wrote it with Evan Klein and Seth Ennis. And I like, at first I came in with like a different variation of the title, and then we landed on like flip, because it was like making cowboys cry, and then it was like, how about Cowboys Never Cry? And I was like, yeah, that makes way more sense, because cowboys, they don't really like to show their emotions. So, and then some of the lyrics that Seth was spitting out, I'm just like, how are you thinking of that? Like, there's like a definition of a cool hand Luke. And I was like, what? Like, just crazy lyrics that I then, like, it has now challenged a whole new level of me. So then I go home and like, I look up like all these different things on how to like twist certain like Southern phrases, or like, and it just sparks a different thing in me, which is so exciting, because that's like, I felt like after a while in LA, I wasn't getting challenged anymore. Like I'd come in with all these concepts, and like I had really cool melodies, but like they were just, I felt like my lyrics were so generic at that point that I was like, ugh, I hate this. I want to dig deeper. And then pop music isn't, they just want an easy listen for right now anyways. Like 2011, like you had like Teenage Dream, you had all these things that were like a story. Whereas now it's just truly like more of the character, like I said.
So let's talk about what you're doing now. What's going on? Do we have plans?
Yeah.
You just got off of
I just got off headline shows, which is so cool.
And what's in the new, I guess the new part of your
Working on an album.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
Working on,
Let's-
yeah, I'm
Debut
excited.
album?
Debut album.
go.
I've never dropped an album in
know.
17 years. Wild. Yeah, so debut album and bunch of different show opportunities, some tour opportunities that I can't quite say yet, but I have my first festival next summer.
Country festival.
Yep.
In Wisconsin, right?
Yep. I'm so excited.
With some big ballers.
Yeah,
on that
Keith
one,
Urban's
too.
on that one that night. I'm like, this is so cool. Just did a run with Billy.
I'm curious about the social media side, because we're all on social media every single day. Finally, we have people who are helping us out with social media now.
So nice.
You're on it a lot. So
I
it's
literally,
already-
I run it all. So
Okay.
it's like, I like have to sit there every day and think of like, what's a cool way of promoting? And
you
it's,
have like for brand strategy meetings with your team, or is it
No.
kind of just you? I'm
It's
gonna
just
post
me.
this and do whatever.
it's me. I edit all of it. I sit there, I'm like, or like, I'll be in shows like this last show. I had one of my managers, I was like, yo, you got to film Cowboys Never Cry like while I'm doing it. And then I got to post it like a TikTok of that. So I need like a really good video. And it's so funny. The one, it like across the board, like TikTok, once you find your thing on there, that's like what people really love. And my thing that people started to like really love was just playing the song in the car. And I was like, have I, like, that's my thing on here? Like, what? So I'll try to do some like cool artsy things and like, it'll kind of respond. But the car videos, like, that's where I like, and that's typically where I figure out what song is next, because I'll watch what reacts and what doesn't. And people just love a car video from me. I don't say like anything, like, I don't set it up.
Oh, we saw it out there. You look like a truck girl, though.
I want a truck so bad. God, I was in LA and like had to do a gas efficient car. And now that I'm out here, I'm like, I want a truck. I do.
So what's the benefits that you see from social media? Is it because a lot of people we talk to, especially independent artists, but just artists in general,
Yeah.
there's a love and hate like relationship.
Love
with
and
some-
hate for sure, but bro, it's free marketing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it is literally like you get to throw up a song and like you don't have to push any money behind it. Like you can just see what reacts. Like that is the beauty of it, is like testing it, getting your like the people that, I hate the word fans. Like I hate it because I'm just like, I'm just me. I don't, but like the people that do follow you, that they respond and they're like, we want this next. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to give you what you want. Like, because at the end of the day, you're the only reason I have a career.
Right.
So it's like, I just like to go see what they want and what responds. And then that's typically how I determine the next single.
Negative comments, you're kind of just brushing those aside.
You know what? I have just learned, like, I did not know the can of worms that I was set up to open when I did the Lips of an Angel thing.
Dude, that was sick. I listened to that this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. What's the story behind that?
That was wild because I like originally, so Austin, who's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So Lips of an Angel resurged on TikTok as all of these songs do randomly, like years later. People were doing responses to it, and like these girls were posting like a second verse challenge, and it freaking just went off. So Austin was like, oh my God, I want to bring this song back, but I want to do a duet with a girl. one of my
That's
it's crazy because one of my managers knows Brian Howes, who was the original producer on it. And Brian and Austin, they were like, okay, we need a girl to demo it. So I was only supposed to demo that song. Like he came in, he flew in, we cut it at RCA. And then he was like, yo, like you sound sick on this. I want you to do it. That's
awesome.
And I was like, what? Me? Like that song like shaped my childhood. Yeah. So I was just like, okay. But the rock community, like that's a whole different can of worms because once there's like, and even like redoing an iconic song like that in general is like you're entering tricky territory. Like it is, especially then, not only are you redoing it, it's not a cover at that point. You're doing it with the original singer. So that was just a wild experience because like when we did post it, like it went off. Like it literally blew up on TikTok. And I was like, okay, cool. But like there's like some of the comments are rough. Like there's the one was the best. Like it was like she sounds like dying cats in a dryer. And I was like, I love this for me. I commented back. I was just like, I love this for me. I was like, but that's kind of weird that you know what that sounds like. Have you done that before?
Yeah, like what's that?
I was like, have you thrown a cat in a dryer?
I think another big question I have with Nashville, being from Nashville, I call it living in the city of cranes and it being the new Nashville because everyone cool is moving here, so trying to collab with people. And it is what it is. A lot of people from LA, Dallas, Texas, Dallas and Austin, even up in the Midwest. It sounds like new Nashville is new country with that pop in it.
Yep.
So
and like you have some rock elements.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on there? Do you bring your pop side into any of these songs or you kind of just want to keep it old soul?
What's crazy is like I don't even like I specifically in pop music, I used to listen to songs over and over and over and be like, I'm going to copy this. And I now don't listen to, like, I typically get in my car and listen to either no music or jazz or something because I don't want to have any influence. Like, I just want to walk in. And I think the cadences that I picked up from pop, some of the concepts that I've like now like have in my brain, I love the fact that I learned that from pop music because I don't even, like, it just naturally happened. Because I dug into it so hard. And I picked up all of these different elements that just naturally happen. And then I try to like put the twist on it or like lyrically challenge myself and like the people that I work with. But the cadences, the pocket, because I'll do like some like faster cadences that I don't think is like such a thing here quite yet. Morgan obviously does it. But as far as like being a female that's doing it, I think it's really fun because it's just like a natural thing for me. And I have this really fun record that's like, one day it'll come out. It's called Outlaw Women, but it is like so just out of like the blue to the left of like, you're like, what is this? Yeah. But it's just very like, my outlaw, living with my outlaw women. It's just, it's like a very pop, like it is very pop, but it's also like, I'm just saying like, I'm from Chattanooga, and it's just, it's fun. So I think it just naturally happens. Like I don't really force anything in a room. I just am like, yeah, this feels good.
Right, because you're starting to hear those 808 beats in these.
It's crazy. Songs. It's crazy.
I'm curious how your experience was singing the national anthem.
My whole career has been the national anthem. It is nuts because I started singing the anthem when I was super little. Like I sang it at like Rangers games, at the Frisco hockey games, like all that. And it has just been a staple in my career because it's like I was so little at the time that like that song is the hardest song to sing as a singer. Like when I tell you,
did you hear Flavor Flav the other day?
Shut up.
Yeah, at the Milwaukee Bucks game.
No, we didn't.
It was insane. It was so bad. And Fergie's was obviously like one that stands out.
That is the best. It's like, oh, whoa. We love Fergie. We love that she did that. We love that she went for it. No, it is by far like, not to mention if you start too low, you're screwed. If you start too high, you're screwed. The lyrics, I'm like, does anybody remember those lyrics? No. Does anybody know those lyrics? No. So it's like, and then when you're placed in like a stadium, typically it is wild. Like it is bouncing off the back. So you're like, you hear yourself, it's like, oh, say, can you? And you have to keep it every game. You cannot go longer than 1:30. They give you 1:30 to do it. And if you start getting that back to you, like you are like, oh my God, say can you, like you're going so slow. You're like, I'm gonna screw this all the way up. And then you're like, did I just screw up the lyrics? Like it is crazy. And then not to mention, like, I'll never forget, I got to do it at a Lakers game and there was Jack Nicholson, Kobe was sitting right there before he passed away, which was wild to me. Chance the Rapper's sitting there. LeBron's right there.
You
Like,
been to a Lakers or Clippers game before that?
I've been to a few, but like I sang at a Clippers game. I sang at a Knicks game. Like, but the Lakers game was wild because it was like one of the, I don't know if it was like a playoffs or something. Like, it was a big game. And I'm just sitting there, and everyone known to man is like sitting at that on courtside. And I'm just like, I literally like, and then all of a sudden, so you have to like, I have the starting note on my phone, and you get to like have that in your ear up until like a few seconds before. So I'm like, and you have to just keep repeating it. All of a sudden, there's like one of the players over there that's like singing a different song, like in a different. I was like, bro, you are screwing me up so bad right now. I literally am just like, like, and then you just like walk out courtside, and you're just like, all right, this is it, and like, and then they have like fireworks go off in the middle that you forget about, and you're like, oh shit, like it is so much pressure to do the anthem. But it's been a staple in my career.
Do you practice your breathing before that? And is that different from like breathing or breath work? I don't know if you do breath work from anything else that you do.
It's you can practice all you want up until you like walk out on there and like everything goes out of your brain. You're like, oh shit. Like, and when I tell you, like, I remember one point right in the middle of doing it at the Lakers game, and I was like, your brain starts to like really mess with you because you're like, that's not the lyric. And I'm like, oh my God. It is so nerve-wracking, but it's also like, it's so fun because you walk off that stage and then like you take your in-ear out and you're just like, you look up and see actually how many people are in there and you're like, oh shit, I just did that.
But then after that, the feeling's like, all right, let's get drunk.
Truly. I'm like, let's go, baby. Let's watch a game. And they won. I was like, let's go.
Who's your team?
Lakers at that point.
Lakers.
I do love the Lakers. I
Dallas
do.
Cowboys fan?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Playing the Giants today. What else we got? Any dating advice for a couple of single dudes?
We know you've been in a couple of relationships, so let's.
I am not the girl to ask. Dear God,
Asking the LA girl here. You know?
I literally have dated in the two most toxic cities you could date in. I swear to
It's
God,
atrocious here, dude.
it is atrocious. LA is atrocious because I swear to God, people just pass people off. Like you could be like dating somebody, and then their like homie slides in, and you're like, what? Like I was just dating your homie. They don't care. They don't care at all. And I'm just like, this is wild. Nashville is also, it's so small here. When I first got here, like I was dabbling in the dating scene, and then I realized how small of a talent it is, and I was like, nope, we're not doing that. We're not dating another artist. We're not. And now I've landed in a relationship where I'm just like, oh my God, wait, I think this is healthy. I do. But he is in the industry, so I was like, that was like, because we write together a lot, so it was like, do we tell anybody? Do we not? Now it's like you see us together,
People
so
know,
you know, it's just, it is what it is. But it is healthy. I like, for the most part, I'm just like, what is a healthy relationship? So my past traumas, I'll like try to self-sabotage. She's like, you're doing that thing again. I'm like, okay.
We're just like, dude, we should probably stop sweating at Tin Roof every Saturday, bro. Like, it probably ain't working.
Tin Roof is not where you're gonna find the love of your life.
Trader Joe's on a Tuesday at 5, bro.
That's what you gotta do. You gotta go church. You gotta like, it is not at Tin Roof. I learned that real quick. I was like, if you want to find a demon, go to Tin Roof. Demons are at Tin Roof.
Hey, babe, you want a lemon drop shot? Who the fuck are you, dude?
Who are you? But sure, I'll take
Andy
it.
Elliott, dude, I got a pod, bro.
I'm
if you're trying
done
to come
with
on.
you.
Yeah, I know.
done.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not the girl. It's so funny.
All good.
I wrote this song, I'll Do It Right the first time. And I was like in a wonderful relationship last summer. Like, but it was just timing wise. Like I was still like hung up on my old relationship. And like, it just, I wasn't there and ready. But like I asked my mom, because I called her, I was like, on paper, he's perfect. Like he's the perfect guy. What do I do? And she's like, bro, I'm not, your dad and I are not together and I've never remarried. Like I'm not the girl to ask. Yeah. She's like, you should probably go ask your grandparents who've been married for 72 years and are 96.
That's both of our parents too.
You know?
Yeah, not together.
Not together. And I'm just like, so you don't really have anything to kind of base it around. Yeah. And then like, you kind of like, you don't even realize like the divorce trauma that you do carry. Sometimes you're just like, oh shit, like I've never seen something that's like functional. Yeah. So I went to my grandparents and I was just like, yo, how do you guys do it?
Our podcast started out as a basketball podcast.
No way.
We kind of switched it up during COVID. And then we had a basketball episode on Mondays, and Thursdays we were like, all right, let's just talk about like lifestyle, like what we're doing on the weekends and stuff. And we would always talk about like our dating life. And I'm 27, he's 29 now. But I'm like, dude, I'm like 23. I'm like, dude, I'm like chasing girls. And it was like that for the longest time. Finally, at like a stage in my life where I'm like, all right, dude, don't even worry about that.
Don't worry.
You know? Like,
and that was where I got, like, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm just gonna be single, focus on myself. Like, I prayed for something that was like, I need to have God in this first. Like, that was like my big thing, was like, I'd always been in relationships where I was like, oh, I could look past it if it's not a thing. Like, and I was like, no, like, that's your standard. Like, find that in a relationship and make that the foundation. And I also was just like, I'm going to just focus on me. And then, like, there it goes. Like, somebody pops up in your life where you're like, oh, like, cool. This is, like, what that is. Like, so, yeah, I don't, as far as, like, me in general, like, dating advice,
he just moved here. He moved back here 2 weeks ago. So we
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, it was a big move, but it was a good move.
waiting on you, big guy.
Where'd you come from?
Did a stint in
Stop
Indianapolis.
saying that. It's not a stint. It's 6 years, bro.
6 years in Indianapolis.
It's not a stint, bro.
I'm done with you.
Come on,
But
I'm done with you.
Indianapolis, this is good. Say it did a lot for me in terms of just grow who
Yeah.
I am, and
Yeah.
I kind of, got to step back from. I don't live downtown.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't gonna live downtown.
Don't
Stayed
do it.
away a little bit,
Don't do it.
but it was good.
Gotcha.
And so
Yeah. Griff, Whiskey Jam? Is that what you were talking about earlier? Yeah. You played at Whiskey Jam yet?
I have.
Yeah.
That was actually my very first show in Nashville.
Dope.
Ever. Like, and I didn't really know what that meant because Ward has been such a, like, he's been so awesome to me. And I didn't know Whiskey Jam was like a big thing. So my first ever
it
show.
wasn't. And
Were
it
you
was-
playing on inside?
Inside.
What was it at Losers or is that?
It was at Losers at the time.
Okay,
In
cool.
fact, I didn't realize I had just played. I think it was the second to last or the very last show at the Winners and Losers. I didn't know I played the last one.
That's cool.
Because now it's at Broadway, and I just played it at Broadway. For like it was Whiskey Jam and Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
Different experience though, for sure. It's like I do miss the Winners and Losers vibe. But Whiskey Jam is freaking epic. Like,
Remember when this? I guess the upstairs fell down.
what?
I think last summer when they were.
I
think
do
Morgan
remember
Wallen and
this.
Ernest were playing.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was moving in and I like remember like seeing the top being rebuilt and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Speaking of those guys, have you collabed with any of those guys? Ernest's dad. Ernest and Mitchell Timpenny, two of our guys.
Yeah.
Went to high school at Lipscomb with those two.
Oh,
dudes.
hell yeah.
Ernest's dad was my Bible teacher.
No
but,
way.
Yeah, Mitch is a good friend of ours. We've had him on the pod.
I
But have you
love
just,
them.
Like collaborated with like any of those big, hardy, those guys. in
Ern, when I
Nashville?
first got here, he's been so awesome to me.
Yeah,
like,
super cool dude.
such a nice guy.
He was a
like,
rapper
he
first.
literally Snow, I think was his like
yeah,
rapper
yeah.
name. Yeah, he's been great. Like, we wrote together when I first got here, and if I like need demos or anything, like I'll send him, and I'm like, yo, you like this? Like, he's been awesome.
So you're
to
kind
me.
of just plugged in now. It
Bro,
sounds
I
like,
didn't
in all
even
of
know,
Nashville.
like, because even like one of my homies was like, "How do you like know everybody?" I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know how that happened."
the Nashville effect.
Yeah.
It is- I was
Get
like,
in
I
a
don't.
couple rooms and meet a couple people, and
Yeah.
you just starting to be
say
best friends
it's-
with
Yeah,
people.
it's
Small city,
weird.
man.
It's so weird.
Last question.
Yeah, let's
All
get
right.
into
At
it.
the end
Okay.
of all of our episodes and interviews, we ask this question, but we're gonna go man to woman.
Man to woman.
Man to woman with Shaylen on the Man to Man podcast. What is the key to success?
The key to success. Ooh. I think that resilience, you got to have resilience, you got to have perseverance. And I've learned now, especially at this point in my life, like a structure and balance. You got to work on your craft every day. Like whether that means like vocal warm-ups or like if you're an athlete, you got to, they practice every day, they stretch. So you got to work on your craft. You got to just like when you do see negative comments, like you just got to brush them off. And I just kind of put like blinders on. I don't, if there's like, I try not to scroll on social media too much and see what everybody else is doing because that'll screw with your head a lot. Or like why somebody's farther than you or like this and that. Like social media, I try to stay off of it as far as like I'll post and then I will not scroll. And then I just get up every day. I work out because that's what keeps my brain it clears my brain for the day. And then I try to have fun. You kind of like if you don't remember why you're doing it, that's when it starts to get rough. Like I lost my why for a long time. So when I'm doing shows and stuff, even if it's one person that comes up and they're like, yo, like this song changed my life or something. And I just try to hold on to those little snippets. Cause like, I also I just got this like advice from my manager not that long ago. Cause I was like, I felt so like the highs like of like a song doing well, shows and stuff like that. And you come back and like you feel like it's a low, it's really just normal. Like you're like living normal life again. It's not a low. So he's like, you have to stop viewing these like as lows. Like when a song doesn't do good for the day, or like he's like, it's just normal. He's like, you got to stop, like you just got to live in a normal. He's like, lows are like when your dog dies, when like all that, like that's the lows, and you'll go through those too. But he was like, you're always gonna have another high, like, and you just got to keep remembering that it's just this. And like in the music industry, it's a lot of this until it's that. But then like you come off that high and it's like back to normal. And it's, you just got to hold on to that, because I think I get myself in these like, it's ending. Like I've only had one song. Like, and he's like, no, bro, like you're fine. Just live in the normal. Live in the balance.
Welcome to Nashville, baby.
Welcome to Nashville.
Shaylen,
Welcome to the music industry.
Let's go. Thanks for coming on. Congrats
Thank
on all the
you.
success. And
Thank
go
you.
check out Cowboys Never
Cowboys
Cry.
Never Cry, yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.